All right, Ambush, and today we are joined by a Toronto-based indie pop rock duo who have recently released a cover of The Counting Crows' Accidentally in Love, which is a part of a much bigger project, Coverama, a show going down on the May 21st, the Drake Underground in Toronto, the album out May 20th. And of course, we are not diving just behind this new single, but of course, oh, so much more with my guests, Thomas Franklin, Maxine, Beck-Sinderby. They are the group known as a TANDM. How's it going today?
All right.
It's going pretty good.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, love it. Very glad to have you here. Loving the music that I have been listening to here, so I'm very excited to dive into things. But of course, like I mentioned, the first thing we're going to be diving into, it's a cover of Accidentally in Love for the Counting Crows. It's a part of this Coverama from Pop Guru. It is, so I would like to know, jumping into it, how did you guys become involved in this project, and how did you decide on this song?
Well, we've known Graham Stairs, who is Pop Guru himself, for about 2 years now. And he approached us 2 years ago after coming to see a random, kind of small gig that we did. He was invited by our publicist to come see the show. And from there, he thought we'd be a great, inclusion for his sync representation. So Pop Guru does a lot of sync, which is like placing music into movies, TV shows, advertisements, that kind of thing. And so since then, we've signed up with him to have our songs basically represented by him for sync. And recently he was doing this Coverama project, and he thought that'd be cool since we've never done a cover song before. And he's heard a lot of cover songs by us perform live. He thought it'd be interesting to include us in that album, which was honestly very flattering. So we chose Accidentally in Love because it was a song from Shrek 2. So Thomas and I had a list of 20 songs that we were trying to pick between. And they were 70s classic hits, some 80s songs, recent songs, rock songs. But for some reason, we thought it'd be interesting to see how my voice performed on top of Counting Crows, because it's a very different vocal style. And we tried to make it as an homage to them. So there's still a few riffs and stuff that are similar, but we tried to make it our own, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I mean, of course, you mentioned all these classics, but Shrek had some pretty banger soundtracks themselves. So
definitely.
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome track. And when I saw that that's what you guys had chosen to cover, respect, good choice. Love it.
Should have done Smash Mouth instead. Oh my gosh.
See, I think Smash Mouth is kind of the the pick that everyone would expect, right?
Exactly, when they hear Shrek.
Exactly. So you guys sort of went with the change up, gave it a little bit of a mix up. I respect it quite a bit there. So what was it like to, of course, like you mentioned, sort of pay homage? Because when you do a cover, you want to do exactly that, but you kind of want to make it your own. So what was the recording process of this track like for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the original song is very rocky, and it has all the classic rock instruments, guitar, bass, and drums. Well, we took that and we also added some electronic instruments on top, like some synths, some cool percussion as well. And we added some gaps in the song that aren't originally there. So kind of let the song breathe a bit. We made it turned it into a pop song, I guess you could say, from a rock kind of song to a pop song. So yeah, I think it's a really cool homage, but also it's still different.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And of course, a fantastic track. And as we mentioned, a part of a much bigger collection. And as you mentioned, very much a honor to be a part of it from an artist standpoint, being able to be on a project with Martha and the Muffins, John Orpheus, all of these various acts. And you get to share a stage with some of these acts here coming up on May 21st. So, of course, this being your first show in probably about 2 years as well, what is it like to have this show coming up? What's the anticipation like?
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, we haven't played in so long, and we're a bit rusty, but we're rehearsing now. So I'm super excited. Like I really missed playing live. So what about you, Maxine?
I'm definitely a little anxious. Since we started performing, I've always had stage fright. So this long break definitely did not help with that, because now I'm not like, yes, finally, I'm back on stage. But I am excited to perform again, because I do miss like the socializing of the live shows and meeting new people and stuff. That's a lot of fun for me. But I definitely have a lot of work to do. And both Thomas and I had COVID. We both tested negative about a week ago. So it was like 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, my voice has actually been like, it still sounds weird to me. So it might be a bit more of a Janis Joplin show, but we'll see how it goes.
Hey, might have to break out another cover, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it is Coverama. We could just do Janis Joplin.
You just adapt. I mean, it's what all artists have had to do through the last 2 years.
Exactly.
And I mean, through most of their careers anyway. So, just go with the flow, make it work, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
Awesome. So, of course, there's going to be 5 different acts, I believe, on this show. So probably a little bit of a shorter set. We know that this track, this cover of Counting Crows, probably going to be one of them. What else can the listeners potentially expect here from Tandem?
The show, I don't want to give too much away. And that's a joke, because we don't really have our set list complete yet. But we're definitely going to be playing some of our newer tracks, because a lot of our old tracks were a little bit slower and a little bit more, I would say, sad. And I feel like with COVID and summer around the corner, it's kind of nicer to have more upbeat tracks and stuff that people are happier listening to than if we just threw 4 very slow, sad songs at them right away. Yeah, so I think we're going to do a few of our newer songs, which are a bit more upbeat. And that's the only hint I'll give.
Okay, so some newer songs. And of course, you guys have hinted towards some new music as well through your social media, posting pictures of the studio and otherwise. Mm-hmm. So your last single, a Christmas track, this more recent one, a cover track. So a little bit more of that new Tandem coming the fans' way without, of course, once again, giving away too much of the magic. What can you tell us about this studio experience and what the fans can expect?
Yeah, it was super fun recording in the studio. We haven't been in the studio for a few years now. So, for about a year. And the new stuff is really, it's going a bit of a different direction, but we're really excited for everyone to hear it. It sounds a bit more produced, I would say, I guess, but in a good way, like
experimental.
Yeah, experimental. Yeah. Sort of.
I'd say produced experimental, but it's kind of 50-50. Like we have many songs that we've recorded, and some of them are similar to Accidentally in Love, where they sound very electronic and synth-based and punchy. And then we have a few that we recorded at my cottage, which is in Northern Ontario. And those are like really like sound like they were recorded in a cottage. So they're much more raw and much more like impactful, I guess, because of that. So
yeah, we have kind of 2 kind of new sounds. One is kind of the more authentic old school Tandem sound that we kind of had in our first albums, just kind of guitar, drums, bass and stuff. And then with the new songs, it's more produced, more synths, more new elements that we've never really used in our music before. So yeah, it's going to be a cool.
So there's a lot of new stuff, basically.
Well, I mean, the sound evolves as you continue to grow and evolve as human beings too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So, of course, we mentioned live show aspect of things earlier and how that's coming up very soon. And, of course, with nerves and everything else, some people have different ways of going through them, handling them, and some people have different pre-show routines. Does Tandem have a pre-show routine before they hit the stage?
Do you get anything to eat or drink before a show?
Really? I do like to eat before a show. I definitely like to warm up and stretch, because I'm a drummer. So I definitely like to do a little bit of warm-ups. But no, we don't really have any like special handshake.
I do my makeup for about an hour. But besides,
nervously walk around the backstage.
yeah, I definitely like to go backstage. That's a lot of fun for me. I think for me, it's more the fantasy of being about to have a show. So I like to enjoy like meeting the other musicians and going backstage and taking a bunch of photos. And as like people come in and stuff, I try not to go too much in the audience because that makes me more anxious than if I were to go greet everybody at the show. I think I would be like overwhelmed by people who are showing up. So I try to be a little quiet about it, but I definitely enjoy the backstage stuff and meeting of the other musicians and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, sorry. I just want to say, I also like to visualize like my favorite drummers on stage, like at their live shows, to try to kind of get in that mindset of like, okay, this is like, I love doing this.
Are you ready?
Yeah, this is what I want to do. Like,
yeah,
let's get it.
Exactly.
Hype myself.
I got to get in the zone sometimes, right? And then also the aspect of hanging out in that community, because art, music, it is a community, and being able to hang out with those various musicians is a wonderful thing. And I actually had the opportunity to interview Graham Stairs actually just about an hour and a half ago.
Oh, really?
So he was mentioning the community being one of the ideals behind Pop Guru. So, and having been able to work with Pop Guru through, as you mentioned, sync and otherwise, what else have you been able to learn from being around Graham, being around Pop Guru?
He's definitely given us crazy amounts of advice along the way. So we're an indie band, which means we are currently not under any record label. And only recently did we start to talk about maybe having a manager. So up to that point, it's just been Thomas and I basically figuring out like the waters and trying to figure out how to get around different issues and opportunities. So Graham has been fantastic for that the past 2 years, because whenever we're in a bit of trouble, we will give him a call and be like, hey, this happened the other day. Is this normal or is this weird? And he would be like, no, that's totally weird. Don't do that. So he's been kind of like eye-opening in the sense that we've never really had that kind of direction before with some things. And luckily we've had a lot of great people help us out along the way with that kind of stuff. So I think that Graham has helped us with making decisions, but he's also presented us with many opportunities, which would have never been accessible to us. For example, sync, but also performing at his live stream.
Yeah, the review.
The Pop Guru review, which was last year, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Right before Christmas?
Yeah, just under a year ago.
Yeah. I don't want to get that wrong, but but it was very recently. So we performed for that. And that was also something we've never been a part of, like a live stream performance before either. So we're just kind of getting these new doors open to us because of him. And that's like...
Yeah. He also helped us like when we first met up with him, he also helped us kind of help us get our songs better produced and remastered. Like he was the one who convinced us to do our remastered album, which we did like a couple of years ago. And so those songs were kind of more ready to be placed in general. But yeah, so he's been a great, helpful resource for sure.
Helping you step up the product, the professionalism, getting yourselves ready to make careers out of being musicians.
Exactly,
right?
Yeah.
Hey, gotta love it. Gotta love it. And of course, it's not always just about the career aspect of it. I know it's a music business, but of course, we are artists, and through being artists, we continue to grow. And what I would like to know now is, through the past couple of years here of having to adapt and sort of navigate these waters, continuing to try and do exactly that, make careers out of being artists. How has that process helped you individually to grow as human beings, or what has it taught you about yourselves?
For me personally, yeah, the pandemic and putting a halt on live shows and recording, it helped me kind of realize that no matter if you can't play live or if you can't go see shows, like it made me realize that I just really want to play the drums, and that's what I want to make my career, like my living. So I started up my YouTube channel again. I do drum covers on YouTube. So I was like really getting back into that. And also I started streaming on Twitch, because Maxine also streams on Twitch, but she helped me get like that set up. So.
Hence the good microphone.
Yeah, basically. No, it just like made me realize that even if there's nothing that you can go out and do and play or whatever, you can still do that from home, if that makes sense. And,
yeah, if you're passionate enough, you can make anything work. Yeah. I would say for me, I don't know if the question was necessarily about the pandemic or just about music in general. But when I was in grade school and high school, I was often extremely self-conscious, and it was kind of like that. I don't want to say that I was in a bad situation, but I definitely was having conflicts with friends and friendships and school. And I was always on edge about who I was and what I was trying to do with my life. And when Thomas and I started a band, it was the first kind of freeing moment where I was able to communicate exactly what I was feeling. And it was, I think freeing is a very good word, because in our music, all my lyrics are basically me explaining things that happened throughout my high school experience or my life or other people's lives. And I think that made me really grow as a person and confidence wise as well, because had you asked me to do this interview in high school, I probably would have sat here oh, hi, nice to meet you. Yeah, I'm Maxine. I would have been very anxious and probably I probably would have already thought out my answers and been very formal with you. But now that we've written so much music and gotten such fantastic feedback from people, it's definitely made me feel like my voice matters in some way, and it makes me feel more confident. And as a person, I think it's made me feel just comfortable. So yeah, that's how it's changed me for sure.
Wow. Awesome.
That was a good answer.
Oh, thank you. But I do appreciate the Twitch streaming.
Hey, no, both things, right? Because, and as you mentioned, you weren't sure how the answer or the question was taken. It's how you interpret the answer. So both of them very good answers for sure. And of course, you mentioned streaming on Twitch itself, quite the community. So, of course, I have to ask, if people want to go ahead and follow you on Twitch, where did they go ahead and do that?
Oh, for me,
you first.
My channel is called The Red Hat Drummer, and the YouTube channel. So go check that out. I do rock, pop, and rap covers, and yeah.
Yeah, so Thomas does drum covers, which sticks to the music interview, I guess. I play Call of Duty.
Hey.
So I play video games on mine, but it's called Swedish Berry. So Swedish, and then Berry was already taken, so I had to put a 3 instead of the E. So it's Swedish B3 Re. But that's fun if you enjoy video games.
Hey, absolutely. It's Call of Duty. Also got to have mad respect for that. I know I've put in probably a countless of a couple thousand hours into it myself. So, mad respect. And of course, if you guys want to go ahead and follow the Tandem on Twitch, the individual channels, you can go ahead and do that. And of course, you should go ahead and follow the group on their social media outlets as well, so that you can stay up to date. You heard it here. There's new music coming on the way. You don't want to miss out on it. So of course, if people want to go ahead and follow Tandem, what's the best way to do that?
Probably our Instagram. So it's tandem.band. That's at tandem.band on Instagram.
Yeah, I think Instagram, we're available on most social medias. Our Facebook. TikTok is really bad. We started TikTok recently. That was not a good choice. Facebook but yeah, too. Facebook, we're on Twitter. Everything should be tandem.band. I think Twitter's the only one that's tandem band without the period.
TANDM without the E.
Either way, even without the dot in there, I'm pretty sure it's pretty easy to find, as you mentioned. Tandem missing one vowel. And either way, you find it, you find yourself some amazing music. And I thank you, Thomas and Maxine, so very much for joining us here today.
Oh, it was our pleasure.
Thank you, Colton.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.